G'day! In only a couple of weeks, we will finally get our hands on Baldur's Gate 3, one of my most anticipated games, not just this year, but in general. Leading up to this release though, there's been some interesting takes surrounding the game. Firstly, I won't dwell on this part for too long, are people choosing to be upset with a certain romance scene involving a druid's bear form. If people just personally don't like this scene, fine, no dramas with that. But plenty of others seem to be in the same mindset as other really dumb people like Jack Thompson, who used to argue video games are the direct cause of real-world violence. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros, the bear scene isn't real, it can't hurt you, please seek help. On to the main thing I want to talk about in this video is this thread from a game developer who works at Strange Scaffold. The main point brought up in his thread is that he doesn't want people to start pointing to Baldur's Gate 3 as a new standard that all devs should be trying to achieve, or use it as criticism for smaller teams not making the same scale game. Personally, I think it's more than fair and also expected, realistically, for a new product to eventually come out and achieve something no other has achieved before, and in doing so become the new baseline for others to try and one up or use as inspiration to help improve their own craft. Let's assume for a second that Larian Studios manages to break new ground with this title. It'll be yet another reason AAA studios need to start putting in real effort, and the higher-ups or the publishers need to actually allow their teams to craft these amazing experiences instead of draining the life out of their workers and forcing games to release too early or not give them the necessary tools to make their vision a reality. Just look at the troubled development of Mass Effect Andromeda as a great example to my latter point. This should be a good thing for the industry from a quality point of view. Now look, I would love other studios to make games this massive and reactive all the time, assuming the product being promised here delivers, but at the very least, more studios should strive to make a solid and complete product that resonates with fans instead of being developed as, I don't know, something like a shop first and a game second. Great example is Diablo 4, a game that I genuinely enjoyed. It costs 110 Aussie dollars and features an in-game shop and premium currency. Baldur's Gate 3 costs 90 and has no such shop or currency. Is that the standard this dev is worried gamers will point to when future AAA titles are released that have nowhere near the level of care put into them, i.e. any Ubisoft title, or feature money-grabbing business practices that no one asked for? Disco Elysium set a new standard for writing, but I don't expect small teams to churn out larger scripts or create more branching dialogue than that game. I don't even expect bigger teams to do this, but I would like to see more people give me the same or higher quality of writing that is created with genuine effort, care for the craft, and ultimately perfectly serves the story being told. Planescape Torment already set a standard more than 20 years ago with its story and world building. Do we just say that game was an anomaly and forgive the writers of Modern Warfare 2022 for their atrocious writing and nonsensical plot? More on that in my video linked below. New standards inspire others. Yes, small teams can't achieve the same scale, but no one should be expecting that. If the biggest game you can manage only takes place in a single location, the goal should be to make that the most solid and well-made experience you can. I played such a game back in the beginning of June. It's called Killer Frequency, and it's a great game because the devs made sure to make this small experience a well-made and interesting one. Another thing that I don't like in this Twitter thread are the sort of backhanded compliments made to Larian. The wording makes it seem like he thinks the studio just had all these things line up for them and it's just happened to work out, and also that the marketing of the D&D IP is doing a lot of the legwork. Never mind the decades of talent that the studio has been slowly building, the goodwill amongst fans that they've been building and maintaining, the absolute gamble they took when they set out to make Original Sin 1, everything they learned from that, which led to the incredible Original Sin 2, the fact that they've tried multiple times in the past to get the D&D license, and they've had to essentially prove they were good enough to use it, and then even the troubles they've faced with the Ukraine war and COVID, just to name a few things. Yes, they are going into this game with wind in their sails, but it's because they have built themselves into the team this game needed. It'd be like complaining that Stephen King ushered in a new era of horror writing with The Shining or The Stand and saying, don't expect other writers to be this good because King knows how to write books and gets paid to do it. Meanwhile, you ignore the years he spent building up to become the writer capable of writing these stories, and that the book that started his career, Carrie, he originally threw into the bin midway through writing it. I hope more games like Baldur's Gate 3 continue to release and make people ask the question of why bigger studios with more resources and talent at their disposal are unable to achieve a fraction of the quality and still have the nerve to further monetize their games with bullshit microtransactions. And just to touch on the scale of games expected going forward again, I hope small teams aren't genuinely concerned with getting criticized for not making a game to the same scale, because you'd have to be a proper idiot to just expect small teams to make games either this big or bigger when they've only got a small percentage of the money and manpower. The most important thing, to me at least, is that the overall product is well made and complete. Also, sometimes less is more. Until the next video, have a good one.